IVM.
Hello and welcome to Football Twaddle. Yes, Savant, what's up?
Hello.
And we have the founding father, the Mahatma Gandhi of this podcast, Arush Dikshit. What's up?
Hey Saru, all good. How are you guys?
Good. All right. Two momentous things have happened yesterday and today. First one is India, obviously, one of the greatest victories ever in the Test match. And the second one is Mesut Ozil finally leaving Arsenal. Guys, it's all working out. And as much as this is a football podcast, we need to talk about this Indian victory. Arush, kitna khushi hai? Like, how happy are you? Are you a proud Indian today?
मतलब बहुत ही ज्यादा. अभी कल तक तो वही सब चल रहा था कि तांडव है तो तू प्राउड नहीं हो. आज पूरा सब प्राउड हो गया, सब भूल गए. बट ओवरऑल काफी अच्छी फीलिंग आई. और यहाँ तो टेस्ट मैच देखना भी टाइमिंग इतना इशू था. ऐसे 2 बार मैंने अलार्म लगाया और दोनों बार यही सोच रहा था कि क्रिकेट देखूंगा, 4 विकेट होंगे या 6 विकेट होंगे. देखा कि शुभमन गिल खेल रहा है. एंड देन इवेंचुअली I think I got up around 5 and then
you got up around 5 a.m. your time in Europe, right?
5 a.m. my time to see, but otherwise before that I got up a couple of times just to check the score to see agar 36-45 to nahi ho gaya fir se.
Yes, is India better than the real Indian cricket team?
I don't know, man, but these guys have performed so well. Yaar, kya khel gaye. It was really heartwarming to see these players playing through so many injuries and body blows against this fantastic bowling attack. Really great.
Yeah. So let's pick out all the players whom Ravi Shastri picked out. Arush Dikshit, Cheteshwar Pujara. That guy got hit 11 times today, right? Not even during the series. Only today he got hit 11 times. But he clearly played so many balls that everyone was just so tired. And it became so easy for Rishabh Pant. Why? Dude, what's up with this guy? What's with this crazy level of determination?
He got hit so many times. There is a video on Cricinfo 45 seconds just to show all the blows he took.
Really?
Yeah. I think Pujara is almost, if Rahul Dravid is the wall, he's the sponge, I would say.
What?
He just soaks up all the pressure. I would, not only in this match, I was also reading it's the highest number of balls somebody has played in a 4 test match series. Not the highest, third highest, and highest also is his, which was in the last 2. So उसका काम वही है कि बस जाओ और फ्रस्ट्रेट करो कमिंस को, हेजलवुड को, करियर खत्म करो एकदम.
Dude, to be really honest, only Cummins is a good bowler. The other 3 are just like blah, whatever.
Oh, come on.
No, I can say whatever, dude. Now I am like full of confidence. But
the victory is sweeter when the opposition's better, no? So we need to hype them also.
No. We can't talk about Australians. Ravi Shastri called Cheteshwar Pujara the ultimate warrior, right? And taking cue from Mr. Shastri again, he also told Rishabh Pant, what an innings. Amazing. When you were out there batting, you were giving us heart attacks. It felt like that at some point, Yash, where our man was trying reverse sweep. He was trying some sort of slog sweep. I don't know. What was he trying?
There was this one shot where he fell down on the ground and played it over his shoulder. That was like...
Yeah.
Wow. It was a brilliant shot. Like for a moment, I thought, why play such a shot when, the situation doesn't demand, but clearly our man really knows his innovative shots.
Yeah, at some point it just became like, we are so used to doing this in T20. So if you require like 5 and over with 10 overs left, I think it was quite clear that they could have probably just done it.
Yep.
Okay, is this India's greatest test victory ever?
See, right now you are in that, I would say, euphoria or abhi to bilkul wohi victory yaad hai. But I would still put it not probably on the top, but at least in top 3. My personal top 3 definitely.
Okay, what are the other 2 in your top 3?
Eden Gardens, for some reason, still will never be replaced. I don't know why.
I'll tell you why. Because that Australian team was way better than this Australian team, right? And they had defeated us in the first test in 3 days, and we were following on. So there's just too much going on in that test as well.
Exactly. And the second one for me is Adelaide, in which Ajit Agarkar took 6 wickets for some reason. Because it's like least expected from somebody and then he performs.
So your expectations of like Rishabh Pant and Shubman Gill were way more than expectations from Ajit Agarkar doing that, right?
As a test match, you can make a case for it being possibly one of the best we've seen. As a series, obviously 2001, I feel, was more important because that Australian team was possibly the greatest ever, and the Indian team was coming back from that whole match fixing controversy, and it was not a very good team, I would say. It was on the way to becoming a great team. Yeah. This series is important I feel it's a watershed event, man. I mean, for the longest time, the Indian board has been the richest board in India, and as the Aussie coach pointed out, there are 1.5 billion Indians around. So they should be like, we should kick on from this series and just accept our place. We should like, India should be like what America is in basketball now. Now, is what I feel.
Correct, but that is just for that you need to. I don't know. I don't remember if there's an Indian team which has ever been so dominant, like to be called the greatest test side ever. We have the West Indies ones and the Australian ones, yep. But if they kick on from here and in 2-3 years, God, that will be amazing. But I'm sure nothing of that sort will happen. So that makes this victory much sweeter. All right, let's move to some football right now. Yash, our man, our boy, the sweet man, Mesut Ozil. He's left the shores of England.
And more importantly, we won't be able to do Ozil watch anymore.
We can still. We can. But how would you sum up his time at Arsenal?
I thought the end sort of made it all bitter. He arrived with a lot of hype, and when he came in, Arsenal had possibly had the worst 2 years under Wenger. He somehow kept them in the top 4, and I still remember the euphoria that the Arsenal fans had, and he had a pretty decent assist record.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, he's sort of I believe for the modern game, he's too much of a luxury player. If he stuck around at Real Madrid, it would have been good for both. Or at least for Ozil. I don't know about Real Madrid, but I don't think in the Premier League with a team like Arsenal, which don't have the midfielders who would give him that kind of support, I don't think it worked out. He could have had a much better career somewhere else.
But poor guy. I mean, to be like fair to him, he's obviously a good player, right? Or a great player. He's actually and that Arsenal team, they had nothing to go for it. And if you remember, as you said, when they bought him, they were probably like the worst Arsenal team under Wenger. So he did a lot of good things, but I don't know. What do you think went wrong? Like, what happened in the way? What did Unai Emery feel suddenly that he stopped playing? Or do you think Ozil just lost interest?
Clearly know why, or rather what happened when Arteta had that political problem and everything. But when Unai Emery around, maybe he dropped a yard of pace, and of course there were some other personal issues. But I mean, it was okay. I mean, if he still would have played, I think the last couple of years under Wenger also, he was not very effective. So, I mean, it's fair enough. He's going to Turkey. They love him over there. And I would say it's a slightly below his level, the Turkish league. But, I mean, it's fair enough. This move was coming. It's great for...
Yeah, if it is slightly below his level, then you know what's going to happen. He's going to have record number of assists. Yeah. he's just going to kill it in the Turkish league.
Let's hope so.
Okay, I think it's a good time to basically take a break. And after the break, let's talk about all these new segments we are doing and seeing what's going on over the weekend. Stay tuned to Football Twaddle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you haven't been following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Storytel and The Whole Truth Foods. Thank you for supporting us. So a great bunch of episodes this week. First, let me tell you about The Note with Maruk Inayat. It was featuring Asaduddin Owaisi. She spoke to the AIMIM leader to understand what the Indian Muslim voter wants and how his party is any different from the BJP. On Advertising is Dead, Varun spoke with Malika Sadani. Malika is the founder and CEO of the Moms Company. They discussed the science of motherhood. On Naan Curry with Sadaf and Archit, Dhananjay Chuck of the Edges and Sledges podcast showed up, so we did another crossover, this time with food and cricket. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritasha and Ayushi talked to Gaurang Sangvi, head of digital business at DSP Mutual Fund. The episode has some logical and realistic advice, especially for millennials, on how to invest their money. Shunya One is back this week with Sheila Aditya and myself. We spoke to Anirudh Singla of Pepper Content this week. Really interesting conversation. Anirudh gave us some real deep insights into content creation and how they're thinking about different ways of creating it. Do check them out. Really fun show, really fun conversation. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Welcome back to Football Total. Only Yash. Yash, what's up, buddy?
Yo.
So let's talk about this game which just happened a few days ago, I think on a Sunday. Liverpool versus Manchester United.
Yeah.
Why did we waste our time in anticipation for this match?
What are you saying? It was one of those typical entertaining 0-0 draws.
No, it was not. Dude, for the first 30 minutes, there was not even a shot off target. So two things, right? Clearly, we know Liverpool can't seem to be scoring goals these days. Somehow, something has happened.
Yeah.
That they just can't. That fluency is not there and they can't score. Manchester United, they had two chances. One was Pogba and I don't remember who was the other guy. Bruno. Yeah, so they had two chances. I think United played the way they were expected to play. Right? I don't think there's any change in that. So what's wrong with Liverpool then?
We've been seeing this coming for a while, right? Now, I think things go stale. I mean, if you see, probably Klopp expected this and that's why he bought Jota, but unfortunately he's out. But if you see the old great Ferguson teams, he used to always keep recycling his teams because other teams figure out how to defend your players. So this front three has been around for 4 seasons?
Yeah.
And it seems like Luke Shaw has a great game against Salah every time for some reason. And Sadio Mane is not having a great year and that's affecting him. So it's possibly all of Klopp's heavy metal football.
Which has taken its toll. Yeah. So someone I know on Twitter actually, who is just into data analytics and has been writing for a year or two, he was actually pointing out that Luke Shaw has had, other than the Spurs game, Luke Shaw has had a very, very good season. Do you agree with that?
Maybe by statistic, but he doesn't pass the eye test, man. He just doesn't. One of the chances was created by Luke Shaw, the cutback to Bruno. But I guess it got through because even Liverpool were not expecting it. And even I wasn't expecting it. I was so pleasantly surprised that happened. And he doesn't do that often. So statistics apart, maybe looking at Telles and how excited the United fans were, looking at all of Telles' crossing videos, maybe Luke Shaw has realized that in order to just shut up the fans, maybe just put in random crosses from the left into the box.
That's the Arsenal way of play. You can't just copy a team style just by looking at videos.
No, but it adds to your stats. No, now it will add to his cross stats or balls into the box stats or something like that. Or maybe he just runs maybe 2 steps ahead of Rashford and runs back. So he overlap stats. So he's not been bad at defending, and for the last couple of years his defense has been okay, but going forward he offers practically.
Alright, the last thing about this, Anthony Martial, why not start Cavani now that he has the racism past him? Why not just start the match with Cavani?
Yeah, I mean personally I would have started with Cavani because Martial is not in form basically. Even if he was scoring goals, maybe yes, but I don't think I think Martial being younger, Ole must have thought that he would come back and defend, or maybe you saw as the game went by, United grew into the game. So maybe Ole must have thought that I'll bring in Cavani as a change factor because most of the game United were going to be pegged back. So probably that was it.
All right. And talking about how Liverpool has gotten stale and they need to change personnel and everything, a team which got stale and then which something happened in between and now they are flourishing and slowly creeping up, and I think by the time this podcast is out they will be on the top of the league, Manchester City.
Yeah.
Dude, why they look so scary again.
Yeah, they've been completely rejuvenated. I think but again there's something new, right? Like I'm
no
sure
striker.
Pep must have played without a striker before, but not for such a long time. And this is a new formation. Plus, they do have Ruben Dias and there's Cancelo. So basically, there are players who are there and haven't played much.
John Stones.
Yeah, so there are some new players in there. But apart from that, it's just there's a lot of quality in that team, man. Even De Bruyne has had injury problems for the last couple of years. This season, luckily for them, he does not seem to have them, and he plays nearly every game, and he's one of the best players in the world.
Dude, one of the thing about City I notice is they don't play that Pep's pass the ball, kick the ball, and all of that.
Yeah,
they've become quite a direct team. They don't care if they don't need 70% possession. They're more than happy to let the other team have the ball a little. I think they press also in a very different way now. It looks like a completely new team.
Yes, I mean, after Pep signed the extension to his contract, he must have maybe thought of a new plan, devised new tactics. It's either that or I don't know. It's just De Bruyne deciding, guys, forget what this guy told you. I'm going to come to play.
I don't think that's what happened.
Because he's practically orchestrating everything on the field, man. Somehow, I mean, his passes find players like, wow. I mean, but there is a lot of method to it.
Or is it because Pep danced? Do you remember the dance video he had to Dua Lipa? Yeah, exactly. And do you think one thing? Do you know the whole controversy of Leeds United? No.
Just refresh my memory.
So there was, I don't remember the pundit, but there was a female football pundit, and I think she made a comment saying that Bielsa's teams get tired generally, and because of COVID and lockdown, what happened was that the team had enough time to recover. And that was one of the bigger reasons on why they actually came through to the Premier League. And then when Leeds won some important game just now, like 3 weeks ago,
Right.
the bloody club, right? I mean, what cheapskates. They actually take that clip.
Yeah, I now remember. It's pretty unnecessary, that whole thing.
Yes, but what has happened since then, Yash, is that Leeds have lost every game of theirs. So you think, is this a curse?
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So this is just... No, but on a serious note, Leeds we have established are not a top half team. So the chances were 50-50 that they would lose those games anyway. And it's a great thing that this has happened after that so that we can banter them.
Okay, so what happened? This was during the West Brom and Leeds game, which Leeds won final, right? And obviously, after that, they lost 3-0 to Spurs.
Right.
Then they lost 3-0 to Crawley Town in the FA Cup.
Oh, yeah.
And then Brighton beat them 1-0. Oh my God, dude. So from then on, everyone's been piling on the club, saying that, dekho, jab se tune ye kiya hai kaand, you're screwed. All right. Continuing with our section, Player of the Week. We just have to give 2 players out, bro. So who was your player from the last recording till this recording? Which player has caught your eye?
See, this week has been a little difficult, but I don't know, man. Do you want to give it to Mason Mount for scoring?
I wanted to give it to Mason Mount. Dude.
Dude, no, okay, let me say, okay, you go for your other player, dude. You clearly want to.
Yes, I want to give it to Mason Mount.
Okay, so I'll give it to the other player whom you've been talking about, Tanguy Ndombele.
Oh, man. Fine, you can choose Mason Mount. I will say some good things about Mason after but Tanguy Ndombele, I am telling you, he is the real deal, dude. That guy is just talent. And and he's in Mourinho's relationship has never been
surprisingly
assured. But this season they worked on it, and dude, that guy is just crazy. For the amount of talent he has, what he's doing even now is just, I would say, 40%. If that guy,
a lot of people are saying he's very intelligent. I don't know. Maybe I've not seen enough of him, his play to decide what is his football IQ or whatever. But he does seem to have skills and physicality and all that required to be a top midfielder.
He is Rishabh Pant in Rohit Sharma's physique, right? So that is Tanguy's problem. And what they worked on over the last few months is just to get this guy ready to play 90 minutes week in and week out. Right. That guy, he does outrageous stuff, dude, which is unheard of. And to give some credit to him, lets him do it. He does a Rabona cross when they're losing 1-0 at 91st minute. But the beauty of it somehow reaches a Spurs player. And you obviously saw his goal. I can't praise Tanguy enough, man. He and Reguilon are the 2...
No, actually he was last year's signing.
Yeah, he and Region are the two of the reasons why I watch Spurs, and they are actually quite good to watch. Now,
Right.
your player of the week, Yash, is the man we love to make fun.
I picked him because I honestly feel that he kept Lampard in his job with that team.
Yeah, whatever your reasons are.
That's it. And of course, we love to discuss Mason Mount till the cows come home. But yeah, I mean, he scored a crucial goal against the team managed by Lampard's former teammate, and the team that is most probably going to get relegated, but are having a good form. Like they've been performing well for the last 2-3 games, and I don't know, for some reason the Twitter was really fallen in love with Fulham.
No, we always love Fulham. I don't know. When Kumar and I talk also, there's always this affection for Fulham, you know.
We always have affection for Fulham, but if you read general football stuff on Twitter, you would want to believe that Fulham has been spectacular since December and somehow turned around their form. And
See, look, if I remember right, they drew with Liverpool, right? Then they drew with Spurs. I think they drew with City also, if I'm not wrong. So I don't know. So, but yeah, they're doing all right. So how they started to where they are now, at least they're tough to beat. But Manchester United will obviously blow them away. One thing about Mason Mount, I would say, is that we all think that he's supposed to be some kind of footballer, but he's not that kind of footballer. For the footballer that he is, he's actually quite decent.
Yeah.
But that obviously, this is only episode we are going to
see, end of the day, see, if he was at Arsenal or something, that would be fine. No, he's at a Chelsea, a club that has been champions in the last 5 years, like a couple of times in the last 5 years, plus it's a club that can spend 200 million euros in a window. Given all of that into consideration, we are surprised.
Yes,
the rest of us are surprised.
I know, but I mean, his positioning is actually quite good. But anyway, I think everyone who listens to this podcast knows what our real feelings are. So this is 1 week of praise. All right, what's happening this weekend? Is it the FA Cup weekend?
Yeah, this is the FA Cup weekend, and strangely, United and Liverpool clash again.
Oh God! So let's talk about that. Is that your game of the week?
Yeah, I mean, this time they thankfully come back to Old Trafford, so we don't. Otherwise, I guess United should have stayed back in Liverpool. But anyway, they're close by. Anyway, yeah. So this is. I hope both sides play their alternate teams. I think they would. So it could be a fun game to watch. There could be goals in this one.
Nah, I think they're just too stuck up, and now both the teams are scared that now if City wins the league and League Cup is already gone.
This early in the league, I think they'll still try to win. At least earn maximum point. This is too early, and FA Cup, I mean, it's such a blah tournament. I mean, at this stage, later stages, maybe yes, it's all that magic of the FA Cup comes in. But if you're playing a Premier League team in the FA Cup so early, where's the magic? There's no magic. This is just whatever.
Wait, this is only one leg, right? So Liverpool or Manchester United could get out on the weekend.
Yeah.
What are you saying, dude? That's extreme pressure.
Why? Who cares? I mean, United sacked Louis van Gaal like seconds after he won the FA Cup. That's how little they care.
Yes, with the most well-kept secret ever. Or I would choose a random game, right, which is Swansea versus Nottingham Forest. And I will make an effort to watch this game. And why? Because not for any particular reason, but these are the two names Swansea we've seen, Nottingham Forest you've just heard. I've never seen them. I don't think I've ever seen them play. Have you ever seen any Nottingham Forest team play?
Damn, I haven't. But this is like a new realization. It's just because of their history. It just feels like you've seen them play.
Yeah, I've never seen Nottingham Forest play. So yeah,
not a live game. Must be some highlights of some championship game maybe, but never seen an actual live game on TV.
Dude, so I'm going to watch Swansea Nottingham Forest, and Google has given me insights. Yes, Swansea has beaten Nottingham Forest 1-0 already in championship this season, but haven't won back-to-back games against them since August 1953. So.
What are the chances? No chances. Nottingham Forest are favorites.
Oh, and you know why we have not seen Nottingham Forest play ever? Because they reached FA Cup 5th round only once in the last 15 years.
Wow.
So clearly we've not seen. Yeah, so just for the fun sake, I'll watch Swansea versus Nottingham Forest. That's going to be fun. But when does the league start again?
I think there are a couple of league games. The teams that have been knocked out are playing.
But look, by the time this podcast...
So properly it will start the week after.
The week after that.
30th, 31st.
Oh God! So are we going? So next week's episode is already going to be called "Magic of the FA Cup Part 2."
Yeah, hopefully not, man. But anyway.
All right. Yes. Very nice talking to you about cricket and football. And thanks to Arush, who basically had to drop out for some unknown reason. So yes, take care, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Zarina, your peak performance coach, leadership coach, and life coach. And I'm here to unleash that power within you with your weekly dose of mantras and empowerment. Tune in to Monday Mantras every Monday for your quick fix and the Empowering Series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday for riveting real-life stories. You can catch us on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.